Right, yes, hello and welcome to Satisfactory. That was yesterday. And welcome to Factorio. First stream back after a little holiday. Um, and we're launching into something slightly different to the norm, although we have done it a couple of times, which is that we are going to design the space science build. So I've already loaded up the test map so it doesn't mess around with the mods and etc. etc. Let's go and before we do anything else, let's go and find a bit of space. Where can we go? That's a good place to go. Let's go down here somewhere. Okay, have I got legs in? Yeah. Okay, let's dash down the bottom there somewhere. So it's where we the slight difference with this is that we are in creative mode on my test map, and I'm going to use the test map. Was it about here I was going to? Yeah, that'll do. I'm going to use the test map to basically build a design for white science, so space science. I am going to be a bit rusty as a general thing. So if I just put this on, say, grass, then hopefully we can turn into grass. That looks like that worked. So where do we want to go? We want plenty of space because they're quite big. Except this is going to be slightly different. This because I'm going to design a like contained space science thing. Well, let's just clear out a big area, or set up a big area, and then we can see what happens. So I want to go probably past this lake, basically. Turn all of this into flat land. We can add water in. We'll need water for stuff, but we can add that where we need it. So, well, I'll probably use the. We go down here. Is that about right? So it will chug slightly, or a lotly. Hopefully, it's not killed my game. That's particularly chuggy. Okay. We just died? It's not done that before. On creative mode. Ah, no, there we go. Right, so that's that bit. So then we need to go back. Oh, I've forgotten which one it is. Don't we? Oh, no, it's shift. Is that right? Yeah, there we go. So we need to go back with shift selected so that we can clear out all the trees and basically everything on here. Should be able to find the corner fairly easily. So we get rid of all those patches and all of this rubbish. So just get rid of all of this. Probably chug again. I can't remember where we started. Oh, this will do somewhere here. Yep, okay. Let's make sure all that's clear. And free. Oh. I'm not sure why that dropped a small number of update UPSs. I should probably go and what I should do. In fact, it's going to do it. Won't take a second. We should go and turn off. It's basically having to recalculate everything as I'm sort of filling it in. It's why I generally run around in the cleared spaces, so that we don't get it as we're designing. But yeah, we should go and turn off the other, the other builds. And then go down here. I should have set this up. In fact, it didn't occur to me, to be totally honest. I should have set this up while I was listening to the So it started slightly late start for the stream because I was listening to the sprint qualifying, as they're calling it, for the Monza Italian Grand Prix. Not sure about the format, if I'm totally honest. I wasn't massively impressed when they did it at Silverstone. I don't know. I get the sort of... The problem with a lot of it, these things that they do, is that they're band-aids, basically. Trying to fix a fundamental problem that overtaking is very difficult in Formula One. But that problem is better solved. Right, so that's our big area here. So we'll dash over and... Which ones are actually switched on? This must be switched on. Looks like that one probably is as well. So we'll dash over and switch them off by basically removing the power source. I can actually check which ones are running. I am live, aren't I? I don't properly check my things because of the microphone thing. Yeah, it looks like it's all coming through. Cool. So, according to that, only Purple Science is running. Really? Oh, that's because I didn't actually... Right. Okay. Where is Purple Science? It's sort of... Which is Purple Science? That's purple, isn't it, up there? Okay. So it's going to turn that off by turning the power off, basically. Which is just a case of removing... Oh, no, wrong one. That one. So this isn't running. Oh, okay. I should leave the the radar in case I want to chuck it back in. There we go. That's a setup. Now, I did this before with the gold and purple science build, and it's the same basic idea. Ooh, crashed into the water. With one little, or fairly big, difference. So just give me a second and I'll chop them out. We're actually doing screen capture, which might be why it's struggling slightly. But what we've got here and here. Oh, it's interesting that one came over. Is the Factorio lab, which is a calculator. Now, can I make that larger so it's a bit more visible on stream? There we go. Let's go with that. Yeah, so what we're going to do, basically, so what I did with the other ones, I've kind of set this up slightly already, but what I'm getting lots of... there we go. Yeah, so basically, for most... Well, I could probably... Can I do it? No, it's just... So most of the other sciences, it's 5,370 gives you like a nice number to play with. But that doesn't quite work with space science. And one of the reasons for that is because it's slightly different steps. So basically, what you're doing is you're loading in 3 components. Well, first thing to note, we will not bother with satellites at the moment. So, because you only need like a tenth of a machine. I mean, you could literally support... I mean, you could support more rockets than you could possibly launch, even with the best system in the world, with a single machine making rockets, basically. And there's obviously a question how we're going to feed them in, but I'm expecting probably to do that with bots. This is probably going to be a slightly bot-based build. Not fully, it's mostly going to be bots, but we may have to do some bits with bots. Anyway, and certainly, the satellites we will do with bots, but we may also have to move the actual science packs with bots, because I'm not sure quite how that's going to fit together. But anyway, so the point is, we'll take out the satellites, so we will ignore that for now. We'll do that as a separate problem. And yeah, the reason that it's slightly different in terms of getting a nice round number of rockets is because, well, a big part of it is because you have 20 beacons. Okay, so yeah, let's just build that to start with, almost to show you what that looks like if you've not seen it. So here's your rocket silo. It used to be a different shaped rocket silo, and you could get more more beacons on it. But basically, I mean, you can't fit more than that many. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, basically, on it in any direction, essentially. So this is like the maximum. If we take that up there, you see you can't fit an extra one in, but that gives us a bit of an opportunity to fit for feeding things in, basically, because what we can do is, and I've done this design sort of over in the actual base, is that, and that gives us a little bit of room to play with. But you see, it gives us, so this is 5 beacons, 5 beacons, 5 beacons, 5 beacons. So it's a 20 beacon build, and it's the only thing I believe in the game that you can do that with. Prod modules are an absolute, absolute nailed on thing for the silo. But we need speeds in these. Have I actually got any speeds, or am I doing it from here? I think I'm doing it from here, aren't I? I should actually add. Oh no, there you go. Where are they then? Oh, they're on there, of course. All right, so this is the this is the build you end up with, basically, and you kind of can't do anything in a sense but that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. No, let's just put them in. And what we can do, we can obviously slap the old radar, GT radar, and the GT power supply on. Okay, so this is our rocket, and the idea is that, I say this, because it's got 20 beacons, it acts quicker, and that will be the big challenge we've got really for making these, because we have to feed in all 3 of these, and getting them in at a speed that kind of works, as well as having because what I've done in the Megabase, in the actual base, is this set of beacons aren't here, and this is where I'm feeding it in just straight, belts going in, and it doesn't actually keep up with it, basically. So they go in. There's also a single assembler making satellites there. So one of the things we're going to be doing instead is we will have, as I say, this is kind of let's just plop it here. We will have some kind of Roboport network. I don't even think I've got any requesters because I've not been doing anything botty on here. So if we get a stack of them, say just a stack of them. So what will actually be happening is that the actual satellites will be coming in via a requester chest, and then our output will be something like this, where basically we chuck it into a load of chests. So effectively what we need is a bot network on this end. So I'll actually put that up there as well. Get that out of the way. And then we might as well, I guess we could sort of simulate that with, well, we don't really need to, but yeah, well, let's put, so if we put a logistic request for, where the heck are satellites there? Are they not in military? Where are oh, there they are. So I'll just, I don't know, request that 5 or something. And I'll probably have some logic system feeding them in, based on the amount that's in these chests. But for the time being, what we'll actually do is we'll turn these into void chests, like that, so that any science we do produce, will go in there. I'll put a, let's just do it in a silly way. Let's plop passive provider there. So I haven't done anything bot related on this at all. So let's fire up some logistics bots. We'll stick them in there. We'll have this be, a passive provider, and all I'll just do a duplicating chest, sticking them in there as needed, basically. But say in reality, we need a logic system to control these, and the bots will take them away to probably, probably I would do it just to avoid too many belts and too much mess. I guess I should stick a satellite in there, shouldn't I? Really? Will that work? What did I do with the satellite then? So if I put that in there, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Satellite. Let's make a bunch of them. Stick them all in there. Oh, there we go. That's working there. Yeah, so some sort of bot system will be, taking the science out and putting them in. I can leave that as off as auto launch cargo. But our challenge really is going to be feeding in all of the material. Now, we do have lots of options with that, but they are sort of limited in that chests are difficult to do. We can do one chest easily. I mean, we can obviously work around it, but we can do one chest nice and easily for each one here, basically, on these sides. Yeah, so we can have a belt for each one. And this is going to be the sort of difference with this build in that I'm not too fussed about sort of saving beacons like I have been. It's more about arranging it so that it's a nice symmetrical, arrangement basically. So if we do just say a stash of each, and I've no problem with us going. As I say, we've got the option then of feeding it in, on multiple lanes essentially. So if we do, that for each one, and it's about getting an even distribution of each type of thing. And we've obviously got, we can have more basically. So we can have how many? In theory, 1, 2, 3, 6. So what's that? In theory, we can feed it in across 9 belts. So that's, what we're going to try and achieve is actually more around spreading the production across multiple things. And so this one we can have as being feeding, because you get sort of how to put it, you get a sort of reprieve while the actual satellite, the actual rocket is launching, which should enable that to buffer up a little bit, because everything else is going to be direct feed of whatever we send down, basically. I say the idea I'm thinking is that we try and feed each one in to the appropriate place, basically. Right, so what we actually want to do first, though, is this is the number 5,790 is like the smallest number, because if we go 8, it drops down to 5.9. Okay, so 5,790 gives us 6 satellites, and so what I'm anticipating is 6 dedicated builds, basically, and we'll repeat it that way. And that should also help with the whole train system in that we're not going to need as many trains to feed each of the individual things, so we can have this big row of sort of trains. So if you imagine, if you imagine, I should probably put it in the middle, shouldn't I? In fact, let's do that. Let's move all of this over more into the middle. That make more sense. How far we've got a way to go. But yeah, so effectively, that green strip I've made, but if you imagine that along the bottom's a whole load of trains that I'm then taking, about here will do. I'm then basically, has that got bots in it? No. I bet none of that's taken its recipes, is it? Anyway, that bit of it doesn't matter, really. But yeah, so what we need, so if you imagine, we'll have sort of builds here, here, and here, and they'll be, rather than my weird thing where I've been doing them out, each side, what we're going to try and do is build them evenly so that there's a middle one and 2 edge ones, and that they're sort of, spreading out sideways in order to get the number of lanes rather than, for compactness or efficiency reasons as such. And then all of the material is going to be delivered in a whole stack of trains, train stations here. And in particular, that'll tell, and I'll be able to stagger them. I'll be able to have a separate plastic build and separate oil build and all this sort of stuff. So there is going to be other stuff in here, but basically that'll tell me how much space they are because I have no idea how big these are going to be. But in order to do that, let's say what we need to be working on, that's that one. What we need to be working on is the sixth of this rather than this big number. So 5,790 divided by 6 is 965, which is a bit of a weird number. And if we take that down to 965, then, that's fine sort of thing. But it might be easy for us, just to give us a bit of a buffer as well, if we sort of take that up to 975, or maybe 980. What does that look like? If we go to 1,000, yeah, we need more, you see. So 990? No, 980? There we go. So if we go 980, that gives us a bit of a buffer, a bit of a margin of error. I've set these up. These are, we're going to have to add more of these in to give us the nice numbers that we want. Yeah. Now, it uses each one equally as far as I'm aware. Yeah, 10, 10, and 10. So we kind of want equal numbers of belts for each. That's sort of how I'm thinking of, making sure it's a relatively uniform production. I'm going to have to tackle the issue of plastic at some point and whether I build that with coal liquefaction, because I really like coal liquefaction because it's simpler. But the one I did for the gold, that got quite complicated because I was making all of the products. So I'm very, very tempted to make plastic with coal liquefaction, and then the rocket stuff and the acid we'll make with advanced oil. Or if we do use coal liquefaction, it will be a separate build. It won't be all combined together. Yes, so in fact, I may do separate ones entirely because we're not going to need that much sulfuric acid, and we're not going to need that much. I was going to say lube then. We don't need any lube. We're going to need a lot of light oil, so that may be separate ones, but we might have like one, because you see it's like 0.1 pipe, even, it's just nothing. So we might have a single sulfuric acid build for all 6. And then, do the thing. So anyway, the point is that basically we need to supply this. Oh, yeah, I've turned that off. So we need to supply this with, we need 20.9 low density structure. We need 31.3 rocket fuel, and we need 31.3 rocket control unit. Now, as a rough thing, those are actually roughly 2 to 1. No, it's, sorry, 1.5 to 1. I was looking at the steel, sorry. So it's 1.5 to 1. So what we should be able to do is basically kind of build it based on this one, and then just have more rows of these, if you see what I mean. Now, so we've got 9 potential maximum. It's only like 0.3 of a belt, but I'm keen, as I say, to sort of spread it out across a few. What I'm thinking is if we make that 21, then we need a 3x7 build. So if that was 21, you see, and we wanted 3 lanes of belts coming in, then it's 7 deep. Okay, so what we then need to do is work out how does that number work with 7. So 31.3 divided by 7. So it's 4.47 rather. So if we then say, so if it was 33, that would be good for 3, but it would be 11 deep, which is quite deep. I mean, none of these numbers are huge. Red circuits is quite big, but it's all going into blue circuits, So these actual these things don't need massive amounts of stuff. So my whole thing of spreading things across more, more entities and that sort of thing, it should work quite well with this. It's going to mean a lot bigger, a lot more than we actually need, though. So it may kill UPS, but we shall see. Yes, so basically, so it's only that one that's multiple belt, and if we're spreading it across 11, then that's not too bad. Fluid may be a problem because it's having to go into 11 machines, which is a lot of machines. because we need light oil nowadays for rocket fuel. The other alternative is we go with 6. And that works out better with that, doesn't it? Because we could go 32 divided by 6. So 6 6s are 36. That's quite a lot of overproduction, though. So if it was 21, again, it would be quite overproduced. Because instead of 20.9, we'd have to aim for something like, yeah, it'd be 4 6s. 24. So it's quite a heavy overproduction with that because of the steel. I think we'll go 7. So what we need to do then is add in enough stuff to take these up to rounder numbers. So first off, we need to take that up to 21, which is going to be what? Well, let's just put 100 in, see where we get. Yeah, it's not going to be anything like that. It's only going to be like 5 or something, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then if we're using the number 3 as the number of like columns we're going to have, then how does 16.8 divide by 3? That gives us 5.6. So 6 by 3 is 18. That's not too bad. That should only be, yeah, it's less than 100 extra. It's 80, 70, 75. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we've basically got a 3 by 7 build of low density structures and a 3 by 6 build of steel. And we also need to say the plastic is, we'll get to that as a separate point. But copper is coming in as a process resource, so that's fine. How many lanes of copper is it? 9 according to that. Really? Oh, well, that's because it's got everything in it, isn't it? So that's not going to be 9 for low density structures. It's going to be, because we would need to turn that one off, it's going to be 3.8. There you go. So it's only 4 lanes of copper. Cool. Okay. So I'm happy with that. Next one, rocket fuel. 30, what was I going to do? I was going to do 3 by 11, wasn't I? So we need to take that to 33. So we need, say, what's 100 do? Yeah, nowhere near. 50? Too much. 40? 30? Not enough. 35? Not enough. 37. There we go. So that gets us a round number there. 21. Oh, I haven't added those in. I can't move that up, can I? It won't let me. Let's just do it. So we need enough to make that into 21, because we're going to have 11, and then 21 is a nice number that divides by 7. So we just need to make that into that many. So we need, say, 50? No. 60? No. 70? No. 80? Yeah, there we go. So we can have so with these, it's 3 by 11 and 3 by 7, which is roughly the same numbers as those two. That's interesting. Then we got the RCUs. We need to make that up to 33 as well. So what does, say, 50 of them look like? That's too many. 40 is too many. 35, too many. 37, that's perfect. Okay. So again, that's a 3 by 11. We already knew that. This one then is 12. I need to feed these both, because those use blue circuits. Oh, no. Of course, it's a level 1. So it's red and green. But that's red and green as well. So this one may get interesting because we want the same stuff. In fact, I should add red and green into this list up here. Right, so if we want to round this up to 12, we're only going to need like 2 more or something. That's going to be ridiculously small. So 20, 10, yeah, so nothing basically. And then 7 by 9. If we're going threes, we want that to be 9, don't we? So where do we get with? So about 20, 50. Well, that's quite a few of these extra. 80, say, no, 70. 75 then. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it rounds all of them, but I need to add on, I think, the red and the green, since we're making those locally as well. This 32.4, now that's a little bit tricky because we actually need to feed them into both of those, but they're together, aren't they? I'll work that out when we get around to that problem, basically. So, if we're saying that those are, you know, parallel effectively in series. So I'm thinking is we've got the rocket control units at the top, and then either, well, they both use red and green, don't they? But these use sulfuric acid. So we then have speed modules below that, you know, feeding onto one side of a belt. And then below that, we have the processing units feeding onto the other side of the belt. And that means we can feed through we can feed through both red and green circuits into both. Because it's so spread out, you know, it should be okay. You know, it's only 1.4 belts and we're dividing it by 3, so should be okay. It's 6.2 belts, that might be trickier. Because we've got to have 2 belts of green coming in and 1 belt of red for each sort of set of machines. But it's not far off, because we can basically just turn this into 33 as well. So we want that to be... And I suppose that is actually feeding the red circuits as well, isn't it? So that's the ones that are going into red as well as the actual control units and thingies. Okay. So if we go 32.4, so we want not many more. Oh, although, actually, it will have, because it copies down the number. So do I need 32.4? Yeah, so I need something like 100 or more. So actually maybe 140? No, 150? Yeah. And then this needs to be... That's unfortunate, isn't it? 12.4. So it'll need to be 15. The green circuits may be the trickiest thing because you saturate a belt with only a couple of machines. That may be we may have some slightly odd arrangement to do that, but then we're going to be quite low down, so we may be able to just do a side modules for the greens, for the reds, and then, you know, the rest pushing through. Anyway, so we need to take that up to about 15. So if we go also 150, what does that look now? That needs to be quite a bit higher than that. 250. Why is that not going up? Or am I going mad? We'll make that way up to 550. Why is that not changing? Or is it changing and I'm not noticing? If I put that back to 100, 10 even. So that's 12.4. If I make that 1,000, now it's 13. I'm slightly puzzled by that. That doesn't quite make sense. We need this to be up to about... I think I'm going to leave the green circuits, actually. We'll work that out when we get to it, because that's more than enough to handle today. I will note these numbers down and set this all up for the stream tomorrow. Right, so first off, then, we need... we've got this bit, and we've already laid down the 3 belts for each one. So what we need to think about is where we're going to lay each one out. Now, because this was more complicated, yeah, I think that one's going to go in the middle, is my current thinking. Yeah. Yeah, that one in the middle, I think. So we need 33, which is 11. So I'll leave a bit of space. How much space? because we're going to need to feed all of the belts round. So if I use the balancer, so if we end up with, say, some 3x3 balancers like that, feeding the material in, but we might as well kind of double the space. So we don't want any, machines closer than that. I think I got rid of all of the, because these are all wrong, basically. Yeah, no, and I didn't transfer it over, did I? Okay, so we'll just do it by hand, a new one. What am I looking for? I'm looking for beacons. So if we say, if we say the middle output is here for this thing. I haven't been saving space on any of my builds, which is kind of both a blessing and a curse, really, because it's meant I've had to clear a lot more space from the biters. Now this is going to make, but it's also freed me. It's meant I've not had to focus too much on squishing everything down. Right. So what do we want to make here? We said that it was this one because it's the most complicated, so it's the most likely to go long. So we'll put them in there. Let's power it here. But my assumption, I think, on all of the builds that I'm doing, is that we're going to output basically. That's in the wrong place, isn't it? There we go. Like that, with my standard sort of trick. Which is the point where we'll need. Do we need lane balancing? Probably not, but let's just make room for it anyway, just in case. So, could we fit a lane balancer in there? Where's that gone? I know I've got that. There we go. So if that was the lane balancer coming in there, that's enough room for that, but that's also connected. Okay. So this is our low density structure. Oh, okay. So we want, actually might as well, what did I kind of hit then? Oh, I hit the tab for that. Might as well connect this to the power. Like so. Stop it flashing at us. So basically we'll have 3 of these. And then we want essentially 11. Not essentially, but exactly 11 of these. So that's 3, 6, 9. And then, 3, 6, 9. And 2 more, so we'll overlap 1. So that should give us 33 rocket machines. Yep. And then we want exactly the same size, don't we? Because it's a lot of the same stuff, basically. So we've got 33 of them. 33 of them. So rockets, I'm thinking rockets we put on this side. Yeah. So essentially we want we want this basic structure, except don't you make rockets in labs? I've forgotten. Blimey. Is that rockets? No. No, you make solid fuel. So is that a rocket? Yeah, there we go. We'll pop them in. Yeah. And this is the tricky part that we need to feed in that, but the only other thing we're feeding in is solid fuel, which is of course just a regular bit of belting. Right, so there's 11 of these as well. So I might as well do the same trick. And then 2. Super duper. Because yeah, what I'm anticipating is we'll have the In fact, we might as well put that in. We'll have the light oil coming in here like this, and we might as well stick the fluid source on, and I will sort of, worry about the whole issue of, oh, in fact, actually, let's copy all of that. Feeding the fluids in. This is an easy one to solve. Do. Cool. Then what we would essentially have, if I put this, say, here, there, 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 then we can basically, I'm anticipating, get rid of that one, and then we can basically copy this for each of these. Don't need that. And feed the belts across here, like that, like so, like so. Sorry, just checking the settings again. Right, so yes, so basically, if I copy that and flip it out, oh no, flip, like that. These won't be quite in the right place, I don't think, but that's fine. And then this one, in fact, if we just copy that, like that, but change that to a low density structures. Now this was different, wasn't it? Different number, Factorio Lab. So yeah, this is only 21. So we only want 7 of these. So I want the 3 again. Is that connected? No, you see, it's not quite aligned. Oh, a reflexive click then. There we go. Yeah, and so we want 7 of these. So we want. Might as well double that one up. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7. 7. Yeah, so plastics I will worry about completely separately, but we do want to put in a steel build, and that steel build needs to be 18, so that's 6, isn't it? 3 6s are 18. So we want one of them. What I'm sort of assuming with this one is that plastic will probably, and copper, will come in on the sides. What does it need most of? So if we take out that one, and we take out that one, so this is all about the low density structures, except not, because I've obviously got all of these extra ones to do the compensation. So we want plastic, copper, yeah. So for this one, we need, I don't need that. Let's turn those off because we don't care really at this stage. So we need 1 belt of plastic, 4 belts of copper, and half a belt of steel. So 4 belts of copper is the big one. That's the big boy. which is best going to be delivered sideways, isn't it? Using the maximum amount of room. So if we do this one, in fact, do I need... Because what you just need those two, which we're going to make and bring up that way. And you're from the other side anyway, and they're coming in from the bottom. Yeah, so this is really the only side loading stuff we're doing. So we can have steel coming up. I'm thinking we do then, plastic. Oops. That way. So we've got... Might need that to be one of them actually. And then steel comes up from there. So this would be... Let's just do the actual thing. So this would be copper. That's... in fact, no, I can use the loaders, can't I? Where the heck are the loaders? Oh. So if that's plastic, that's copper rather, and that's plastic. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and then we'll just copy that down. Copy it down like so. So that. And then it's, what is it? It's copper at the bottom. I might do the trains on this because this is probably not going to take that long to put together. I might do the trains and the plastic and stuff build as well, but they may be tomorrow jobs. Right, so we need this here, and it was 6, wasn't it? So if that's going to feed out on that side, then we want that there, and in fact, let's put the bacons in first. Is that going to work? Yeah, that'll be okay, I think. So if that's the thing there, just my normal thing basically. It's nothing super clever, or super different rather. Just ensures, if it ends up, one of them ends up getting blocked because it's all on one side or whatever, then it sort of self-compensates. Right, so, and we can then have let's make that bit a bit tidier, like that, in case we do need to run something through here to get to these. Gives us a bit more leeway to play with. So that's the iron plate coming in, and that's the steel going out. So we then want these, but we don't need these, and we do need this. So that's 2, so I might as well copy that up. 2, 4, 6. Cool. So, autosave. What we need here is iron plate coming in. I've started this at a bit of weird times. I don't know if that's... there's no one joined me yet. I'm guessing, I don't know if Neil House has already gone live or whatever. It tends to be the elephant in the proverbial elephant in the room with Factorio streaming sort of. There's a few other big streamers that tend to stream at this sort of time. So that's why I started streaming at 3 o'clock actually. It's still coming through. Still is coming through. So have them coming in there. See, the bit I don't know, and which doesn't make sense in a sense, is this doesn't seem to be enough to me. Because that's not even a belt's worth. So how is that going to keep this going at the speed it needs to go at? Doesn't seem to make sense there to me. Anyway, we'll see. The next simple one is this one. Now, the decision here really is a lot to do with the fact that so basically let's do these first because this is more understandable. We have the issue basically with the rocket fuel, solid is making the solid fuel basically that if we're going to make it from, well, it doesn't matter what we make it from, we're going to end up with a mix. Why have I got a random blueprint? No. We're going to end up needing to make some of it from petroleum and some of it from light oil. But rocket fuel needs light oil as well. So we could take an approach. We could take an approach that... actually, which way around do I want to do this? Let's make the speed modules second. No, I said that and then clicked on the wrong thing. Let's make the speed modules second to give, so that hopefully they're a bit further past and we can feed the sulfuric acid in the side. Or, you know, it gives us room to make it or whatever we end up doing. Now with these, I say, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? I'm thinking that, because it's not, let's have a look at the numbers again. So if we switch this out to rocket control units, we need those, and we need those. Need to turn that on. Iron plate I'm not fussed about. I guess we could look at that because we need sulfur, sulfuric acid. We've got the petrol, the plastic thing again. So turn those two off. We've got that off. You turn that back on. Coal will say we're not fussed about. Oh, this appears to be set to... Huh. That's interesting. It's already set to coal liquefaction. That's interesting. Yeah, so is that everything? I think that's everything. But we'll turn the plastic off again because I'm not actually fussed about including that in the build. We'll build that separately. Is that everything then? I think that's everything. Yeah. So we need 12 machines for this, which is 3x4, isn't it? But what I'm thinking, I can't put prods in there, it's speeds, isn't it? Is that we put these on one side of the belt. Yeah. So we basically put these... We have one belt basically going through and it's got both speeds and low densities on it. So we only want to feed them in on one side. Which side would be easiest? If we... I mean, the easiest is just going to be literally plopping them on there, isn't it? Does that need to... No, that's fine. And then you see it has... We'll give it a normal speed. Question then is, where am I putting that? Can I move that down? I can. So if I put that power there... I could always... And if it gets some weird situation where it can't output them fast enough, I could stick in a stack or whatever, so that's fine. Now, these need more... No, it's even, isn't it? But these need lots of greens. So what we'll probably end up doing is having 2 lanes of greens, one which goes all the way down here, and one... Oh, because I also need greens to make reds, don't I? That's right. So, if we have the greens... No. Let's have the reds coming through here. Yeah. Like that. And then that gives us options down the side. For feeding in greens. I'll put that there. Is that going to be most sensible? Probably not. Probably best to do that. So reds down the middle, greens down the side, and so we'll end up with a couple of lanes doing interesting things. But we need those 3 for that. And then it was 4, wasn't it? Yeah, 12, 4. So this is 2. And that's 4. But we don't need this going up the middle. Here. Cool. Oh, whoops. Put that bit in. Missed that off. Okay. We then want, in fact, we'll just copy up that. So it's still reds down the middle and greens down here. We'll have to add on extras for the greens, but we then want blue, but we don't want to load them on that side. What we want to do, how am I going to get that? Feed it in the top there, maybe. Yeah, I like that. So we need this, but we need it on the other side. So what we can do is we can do one of them. Am I just going to quick and dirty it? I mean... Trying to think about it in the simplest way I can do it, sort of thing. Because that feeds in on the correct side. Because that needs to be on the right if this is on the left. Yeah, that works. But we're going to need... Somewhere we're going to need a... You know... Because this won't reach, so we can have that one extra there. Like that. So this is still great. So we'll have to work out how many greens we need. But we can certainly put that pipe on to start with. And, oops. That one there. And we'll put this on this side. It's easy enough to switch it over. Oops. And you know, we'll just feed in. Fluids is a problem for another day. But these, I mean, these are very hungry for greens, aren't they? So we do that. I think that's probably a bad idea in the sense that we could probably better off moving it up. Why don't we do that then? So if that one's there, and then we can do something when it turns out we need more. Question is, how many of these do we need? We need at least 2. Blue is 9, so we need 3. 3, 6, 9. Okay. So let's just chuck for temporary, just to make sure this is hooked up properly. Let's just chuck some red circuits into each of these. And chuck some red circuits in there. Copy them across. And I say let's see how many greens we actually need in terms of lanes. Will it go all the way down? Doubt it, but we will see. Oh. No. Nuts. I have to clear that out, I think. Nuts. Just get rid of that for the time being. Get rid of those reds. That's not got reds on it. So you've got reds, you've got greens. Why are you not outputting anything? Because that's full. Oh, because I need... Oh, did I not... Oh, nuts. I did not copy that bit down. Okay. Like that. Like that. 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 And that. Why are you not working? Because you haven't got any blue circuits. Why haven't you got any blue circuits? Oh, because of dumbness. Because that's not the right side, is it? That's the right side. Damn you, dumbness. Oops. That. Okay. I suppose the other point I hadn't really thought about, it's 9/11, isn't it? I don't know if it counts as disrespectful for me to stream, but obviously I'm British, so it's not really it didn't really happen to us, but I do remember watching it on the TV. So these aren't getting enough green circuits in. So we'll need to... I mean, these are... How many green circuits do I actually need? If I turn that off, so it's 4.2 lanes, it says. Where's red circuits gone? Okay. So 4.2 lanes, it says. So it is more than 1 lane per thing. Because what we may be better off doing, you see, is having another lane of sort of feeding them in. How would I do that? How many lanes of red do I actually need? It's only 1.4. Because what I could do might be cheeky to arrange. Because I can't really have green machines on the side here. But we could have green machines on the side here. like feeding across to give these the extra ones they need, so that some do at least get down. How do I want to do it? If I do like that, so I know they're all coming in sort of at the same place. Help me keep an eye on it. I say we'll take these out. We need to put them back in, but what we can do basically, because greens are tricky, because you've got to feed them with all sorts of stuff at super fast rates. So it's one of the reasons I prefer to sort of have way more machines and not worry too much about them all running full chat. Because say for me, for my money, it kind of balances itself out. But we'll see if we can do that. Because I think because we got the iron plate here, you see, potentially as a train delivering stuff. So you see, we can have the iron plate coming in, here. I got that in the wrong place, didn't I? Put that there, like that. So it's iron plate coming in there, and then we have the copper machine, copper cable for this one here. I say it kind of doesn't need to run at full speed, but if it does, that's not exactly a bad thing. I could always, because which side does it? It's on the right, doesn't it? So we could potentially flip that over. Oh, of course. Turns it into a. Never mind then. So I don't think these need to run at full speed ahead, as it were. Let's see what we can get away with. So then we want copper coming in here, because it's 2-to-1, so we should be okay like that. So we need to feed copper in here. Iron plate in there. Why is it not? So if that's copper, that's iron. It's not got any way of loading that in. So it's not running at full speed, but the question is, does it need to? Probably needs to run faster than that. Anyway, let's have a look, see. Oops. Why have you... Oh, of course I took the sulfuric acid out, didn't I? Let's just pop that in there. In fact, let's put it here. Kind of out the way. Like that. Where's me? There it is. No, other way around. Like that. And let's copy this a bit. No. This a bit. In fact, let's copy all of that. So we go bosh, bosh. And then we need to copy that. So does that enable you to run at the speed you need to, assuming that this is a full lane of green coming in? No. No, you're not running fast enough, are you? Okay, so let's do my direct transfer E version. See if that gets enough. Because you're saturated, aren't you? You've got more than enough stuff. You're still not quite running. Oh. Tiny little pause every so often. Does it matter? Yeah, it's still not coming through quick enough, really. Is it because the belt is full? Or because the inserter's not fast enough? So there are some bits sort of getting to the end there. Because what it can do is add in additional inserter points. Just so that we know that's not an issue. So, like that, like that, and like that. I think I actually need 2 machines, don't I, to provide what it really needs. But I was kind of assuming we would have, saturated green belts coming in here. That's annoying. It's still not really pulling it through, is it? I mean, we could have. See, I don't think this is the issue, really. But we can have an extra one there, and then it does really run full speed. Apart from that bit, and I say we can kind of solve that in a similar way here with that, and then it does run continuously. Doesn't fill the doesn't fill the belt, and so you're not getting enough. This one, even that one doesn't really, because I can put what I can do basically is like I've done on my other builds basically, in that we can have this duplicated on this side basically, not that one, that one. I was just kind of hoping that it would be enough. Because these aren't running, I presume, like full speed, really. I bet some of them are. Yeah, there you go. Oh, no. Oh, I haven't. Did I not put. Of course, this is full, isn't it? If we pop this out and put some void chests on instead, so that we know, it's sort of running. Might have to clear more of that down, actually. Let's put some more voids on. Sort of take the material. I forgot that we're feeding it into a rocket silo. And there we go. So that should eat through it. I say it's not nowhere near a belt's worth, but it'll, get rid of it all, so I don't have to worry about that being an issue. And as you see, we're not getting. Oh, we're not getting speeds there. Why are we not getting? What? Oh, that's because there's plastic on that line. Why is there plastic there? Oh, because of that. Look. Don't want that. Any more like that? No. No. So that one wasn't running because there's plastic polluting the belt. So that's fine. So these are. Oh, you're not running. Why are you not? You're not running because you're not getting blue. None of you are getting blue. Why are none of you getting blue? Oh, of course, I haven't copied that up. So I need to In fact, it might be easier just to delete these out and copy it up. Okay. So I did some fiddling on this, didn't I? So if we chop them out, copy this back in. So this is what I love about creative mode. You can just stick them in, basically. Don't have to worry about what's in the machines and all that sort of stuff. So these should all be running. Oh, not running full chat. Why are you not running full chat? Because you're not getting enough belt. Why are you not getting enough belt? Just because of the general issue that is. Oh, you're not getting enough iron plate. Okay. Do I care about that? I mean, it is sat at the end. Probably not, given the situation. Because what I can do, basically, is rather than have this like this, we can basically flop it around. So we can copy and paste this. Wrong one again. There we go. And have that. In fact, there was that discovery I made that it all automatically replace them when you do like that. It does the undergrounds as well, which I never knew. So we want that to be regular belt. So you're still not getting enough. Oh, it's because this won't be working. Because we need iron plate, and we need copper. There we go. Just let that fire up. See what difference that makes. Are you happy? You're happy. Yeah, you are staying happy. That's what really matters. As are you. Okay. You're not running. Why are you not running? You're getting blue. You're getting blue. You're getting blue. You're getting blue. You are. You've got 1 blue, 2 blue, 3 blue, 3 blue, no blue. 2 blue, 3 blue. Let's have a look at the production stats. So getting 600 blue a minute. Yeah, that's what we're kind of expecting. And we're getting 700, yeah, 700 low density structures. 530, oh, they're a bit low. Huh. Is that just because they're backed up? Doesn't look like the graph is like increasing or anything. That's a different time scale. Which is speed module is that? Oh, okay, yeah, it's ramping up still. Which one are you? Yeah, sort of trending up. Oh, there we go. So it's back. It's above 500 now. It's just because they were all sat on the belt and the machines had loaded up and blah blah blah, waiting for the blues to arrive. And they are sort of ticking up. So that all appears to be operating as expected. Right, so let's go and add on the red circuits. Because how many red circuits do we need? We don't need red circuits for... I've not included anything else. Yeah, so this is pure red circuits for these things here. So we need 11 red circuit machines. But as per my usual thing, I mean, am I going to have to do that? I don't think I do I? I'm just wondering if I can get away with greens on one side again. And basically, we effectively have this, and instead of, this going like that, so in other words, instead of this also feeding into the greens, it just keeps going into the reds. Because the reds are really slow, so it sort of, in a sense, doesn't matter. If we overkill it with greens for the reds, that's not an issue at all. And that's how I've been doing all the builds, really. Right, so if this is the red, you see, because we also need plastic to feed into these. And plastic is, required for low density structures, so, we need to feed that into this side. We're going to have to do copper on both sides anyway. So do we sort of copy this? Don't need the sulfuric acid, but we'll just copy that for the time being. Don't need this bit. And that's going to be copper. Well, the bit I'm wondering a bit is that the iron plate, basically, that I don't know that that'll go all the way, because we're going to need 11. I don't think it'll feed that many. So if we cut that bit off, in fact, let's just sort of rework this as we need to. So that will be copper coming in there in some way. So prods in there, speeds in there, that in there, that in there. Plastic then. What we're looking for? Because this needs 4 copper cables, 2 plastic, and 2 circuits. It's just not a lot. How about instead of that, would this work? So if we get rid of, or not move, or rather move that to there. So we have, because they really don't need a lot at all. And we have basically plastic being fed across from this side. No, maybe it's easier the power thing if the plastic is here. Like this. So this is plastic coming from our plastic build. So we'll put that well out of the way. So that's plastic. And it's half a belt. We need this to really pump out green circuits. How am I going to get the copper cable into it then? I could, because that's on the right, isn't it? So that should be fine. We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. It's all about experimentation. And we want whatever copper cable is left being fed into this machine. We also want iron plate which is not going to be too difficult to feed in there, I think, because we're going to have, you know, trains doing that from wherever. So if this is the iron plate, and it becomes a balancer issue rather than a length issue. So that's fine. This is the copper cable. So I'll put one of them and one of them, more just for the principle of the thing, I think. So if we copy that bit and that bit, and then this isn't here because we've just moved it, and this we move to here. This is still copper. And we put that like that. Let's get rid of that. Because this needs to go up the middle. But that's not too much of a drama. Is it up the middle? Yeah, it's up the middle, isn't it? Like that. And my favourite little trick. So I've got the plastic coming in there. Iron plate for you. Green circuits coming in that way as well. Oops. And then this is like all of the copper cable. That might be interesting. I'm not sure. That might not be enough supply, but we will see. Oops. That needs to be a belt. We'll see. We'll see. Let's try it out. So if you put something like that. Oops. Like that. What happens then? So this does produce copper cable. Oh, we had a tiny little flicker pause there. So it could take more input. You're getting everything you need so far. You see, this doesn't quite get all of the copper cable that it needs in a sense. But it's stuck, you see. It's not outputting, you know, it ends up with big bits where it's not able to output. Because this is more than enough supply for 3 reds, because red is so slow. So if we copy this up 11 times, and I've accidentally included them, so that's 2. 4. 8. And if we do that one, that's 11, hopefully. So that's 11. Yeah. So we want copper down this side. And we want alternating. Better get it right. Well, first we want plastic. So I'm more than happy if there's a separate, you know, the plastic build is separate. This, oops. Nope. Let's pick all of that up. More than happy if there's a separate plastic build that we just belt over, or maybe move around with trains, or possibly even bots this time. Don't think that would be very efficient there. With bots. Right, so let's let that chug through and actually start working. I don't know if it's because I was slouched before, but my camera seems to be pointing downwards now. Silly thing. Is that there? And that's not right at all, is it? Yeah, that'll do. Right. Why are you not running? Oh, I guess because nothing will be running because it needs to be green. Oh, which is a point, actually. We need to have some green circuit builds here. But we've got the perfect opportunity because all we need to do is feed this lane down. Yeah, that's perfect then, isn't it? This just needs to go... where is it? So it's like that. So it's there, basically. So it's that one. So we also need to make some green circuits to do this way, and we need to saturate this belt, basically. How am I going to calculate that? Oh, we have random bits of what's happened there. That's gone very wrong, hasn't it? Somewhere. My shoulder's killing me. Oh, it's because I haven't put that in. That should be there. Okay. I shall put it in then. Oops. Like this. Like that. Get rid of that. Oops. Okay. Okay. So they will be making stuff now, should be, but very, very slowly, because all we're getting is the green circuits coming in there, and eventually, you know, they'll saturate the line, so they will stop, but blues are so slow. You know, because they're not getting the greens here, and that's what we need to add in. Now, how can I work that out? So what I want to know is how many greens I need without reds. Yeah. I think that's right, isn't it? Because that's now the number of greens I need to feed into both those two. Yeah. So it's 8.4 across 4 belts, you see. This is the bit I've unfortunately sort of messed up in the sense that, I mean, if I was just to put 2 rows of greens on, I'm pretty sure that fills a belt. 2 green machines. Let's give that a go, and then if it doesn't work, we'll see about changing it. But basically, how do I want to do it? I need to feed them. We might as well just do a separate thing, really. You know, so not just copy down the design. Because the tricky part actually is probably going to be feeding the middle row. Not row, middle column. But then I can do the same kind of trick, I guess. If having the middle one be fed from, you know, both sides. Yeah, let's do that. So I don't think I kind of. I sort of need this, but don't need this, if that makes any sense. Because I've got those other machines. In fact, we don't need that one if we're going to do that. So we need that to be one of them. Probably one of them. So this is iron plate coming in. Like that. Because we need to feed them there. Oops. Oops. Like that. So, might as well... In fact, it needs to be that, doesn't it? Like that. And then output, output. Oops. So those are the outputs. We can then just copy that, flip it. Got the right flip that time. Can't we? There we go. Except that, oh, I shouldn't. Hey, this one wasn't a flipper. This one was a mirror. And then this will be iron plate as well. Oops. Out here. Just keep it out of the way. So those are the two iron plates. We'll then have the copper come in this way. Because that's going across, isn't it? Yeah. So this is the copper cable. Oh. It's copper cable. And that. Then might as well feed them across. Since we've got nothing else coming the other way, we could go... Oh no, we do. We got that there, haven't we? Okay. We can have that. Oops. Output there. Like that. We could probably have two of them. And one of them. Like that. Right. Oops. And then we'll need a lot of copper if we're going to pass it. Oh, that's too far. Pass it all the way over. But what we can do is overfeed it again. So we have that be like that. In fact, it might be easier to do that. No, I do need that to be there. Like that. In fact, I don't really need to do that, do I? Because that's the output, that's the input there. Because I can just feed it in here for this one. Let's belt and braces. Let's not mess about, because we do want saturated machines here. Saturated belts here. I'll have that like that. Gives me more options for feeding in if I need more there. So this is going to be copper and copper. Let's just copy this. Okay, so effectively we need the mirror of that. Like that, like that. Pop these in. Like so. And then... Oh. In fact, let's make it a little bit symmetrical. Just because we can. Like that. That on the outs. Oh, no, can't do that. It's got to be on that side, isn't it? There we go. Like that. Those two there. That one. Then this is going to be coming in from this side. Is that right? Yeah. What have I done there? Oh, of course, it's feeding in this side, isn't it? Yeah, that's okay. And then we can just have one of them. Oops. Missed. One of them. Then we want... Well, I don't know what we want there, but we want something. So this is coming in here. That's coming in there. That's copper as well. Copper. Right, so we need this on Traptioni. Or something like it. Here. And then we need the bonus output, I guess. Like that, maybe? Oh no, I can't put it on that side, can I? Because it's the pass through here. In fact, that needs to go on all of them. Oops. As well. Should have put that on first, because I wouldn't get us confused then. Right, so that's that there, that's that there. In fact, let's have them not be symmetrical, but be the same. If you see what I mean. Oh, we've not got one there. So, yeah. Iron plate, copper, copper, copper. So does this work? I mean, I know it'll work. It's whether it saturates the belts, basically. Or near as we need it to be. So what are you doing? You're lacking cable in terms of your production. Are you lacking anything? Sort of, in the sense that what I might do that, and maybe have two on that. How does that help? So it's absolutely rammed with cable. So it is sort of, it's that thing where Yeah, this becomes empty because this is full, if you see what I mean. Like the signal almost doesn't make it across. Why aren't you outputting at all? I guess because only one machine. In fact, we might as well get rid of that. Gives us another option for inputting copper if we need it as well there. Now what about you? Yeah, you're occasionally running out of cable. Do we care about that? We will have to see. Oh, yeah, okay. So plop that down there. Get rid of them again. So I'm pretty sure 2 green machines should saturate about, but ours aren't quite running at full speed, so we may need 3. We'll see what this does. We shall see what this does. Let's let it all fire up and run to speed and etc. So this is certainly not a saturated green belt coming out, is it? Now why is that? Because these aren't really running as quick as they could because they're not getting the cable. And they're not getting the cable because it's not being inserted quick enough. That one's not really running is one of the things. Do we care about that though? Is it, is it enough green circuits to do what it needs to be? I mean, he's not even running. Why are you not even running? Because you haven't got red circuits. Why haven't you got red circuits? Why aren't you out? Oh, right, okay. Why is that all not feeding through properly? I guess because that machine was just backed up. Are you running now? Are you getting red circuits now? Yes, you are. Are you getting red circuits? You're getting red circuits and green circuits. What about you? You're getting red and green. You're just full and stacked up and waiting. Okay, let's switch on the production numbers. See what's happening. I've obviously got something switched on somewhere, because why am I still producing coal? What's that being used in? Because I'm not actually running plastic anywhere. Something is obviously still switched on. But it doesn't matter. Is that copper cable? Okay. How are we doing? This is slowly ticking up, you see. As everything kicks back into place. Let's have a look at our numbers, what we should be expecting. So we should be expecting 536, which is what that's running at. So it's just sort of catching up with itself. As the belts clear off what they've got on them and the machines empty out, blue circuits will slowly tick up, hopefully. It's continued to slowly tick up, so I think we'll leave it and go and work on one of the others, because this seems to be working as planned. Low density structures is still pretty stable. Cool. Okay. So, rocket fuel. I am the rocket man. Right, so we need to turn all sorts of stuff off now, don't we? Steel, do I need to Yeah, still turn steel off. Not sure why that was on. So we need rocket fuel, which is, I mean, this is all because of, yeah, I've obviously set something somewhere about cold liquefaction, but that's fine. So rocket fuel is relatively simple in the sense that all we need to do, because I've already, I've already got these set up to provide it with light oil. The question is around the labs, basically, for producing the solid fuel, because heavy we don't need, right? Because nothing here is using heavy. So heavy cracked to light is fine. I've obviously set something somewhere. What have I done? Recipes? Default recipe heavy. Oh, I clicked the wrong one, didn't I? What was that? So it's this one. Oh, no. There we go. Recipes. Oh, maybe this is just telling me that, because they're both enabled, that it's better to do it with heavy, with, or light, or with cracking. Maybe the ratios work out a bit better. Oh, look, it looks like it's recommending essentially that we make solid fuel. It's confusing how it lays it out sometimes, I must say. So we make solid fuel from both heavy and petroleum. Is that right? No, we're making it from everything. So why is it not showing everything? Because you get this thing. Oh, there it is. That's from light oil. But we're also getting a load from heavy and petrol. That's weird the way that's formatting that. Because what this is there for, so I thought we only needed 6 machines, but we actually need 6 doing solid, doing the light. Because you get double the amount out of the light. So it's 10 to 1, and that's 20 to 1, and that's 20 to 1. So it's recommending doing oil. That's obviously the best ratio. I wonder what does it look like. So where would that recipe be? If we were to instead make, so it would be this one, would it? So if we turn that off, and it's advanced oil only, what does that look like? All right, so we're now not making it out of heavy at all, because we obviously it changes the ratios to such a degree that the heavy is simply being cracked into light now. So what's the difference there? We end up with 14 of them and 7 of them. So we would have to bump that up to 15 and 9. Okay. So if instead of that, we turn that on and it switches, it says that this is better. And this is 6 of them, which is quite good for our ratio because it's, 2 by 3 basically. We've also got only 2 of them, so I can do 3. And that's 13 of them, and I can do 15. So that's quite convenient there. We also need, in terms of cracking, I kind of need to make a almost philosophical decision. Do I want to do advanced oil processing here? Because one thing I'm aware of, one thing I'm sort of slightly aware of, is that the Gold Science build, um, he's doing a lot of fluid processing, and I could well end up with a backup situation where basically, I'm like producing too much petroleum essentially, um, or not enough heavy. Same thing essentially, and the whole system backs up because there's an overflow of like petroleum, and so it would be good to have a place to take because what I'd sort of anticipated when I was initially doing or thinking about this is that like this would end up as a dumping ground, because initially what I was going to do is each of the oil patches I was going to um, convert everything to, so each of the oil patches would also, like I'm doing the processing with the iron plate and the copper plate, they would process to their respective, heavy, light, medium, or heavy, medium, light sort of thing. Oh, heavy, medium petroleum. No, heavy, light petroleum, sorry. And that I would then take what I needed to the appropriate place, and that rocket fuel would sort of end up as a dumping ground, and I would just have excess machines, processing whatever was there. So it wouldn't be perfectly ratioed. I would just turn whatever turned up into rocket fuel, using it either, directly light oil there, or, solid fuel there, or whatever. And so it would effectively be a dumping ground. I can still do that. And also, that was when I was thinking that I would have a single train system. Because now none of those builds are connected, basically. Because the other problem is Blue. Blue has a load of oil processing. And so I could end up with the same problem. Yeah, it's still this. I mean, the problem is still theoretically there with coal liquefaction. It's just that, how can I put this? If I do coal liquefaction, then I've only got coal to worry about, because I need coal anyway for plastic. So I need outposts for coal anyway. But if I do advanced oil as well, then I also need oil ones, and I'm not that confident with my train station design for the oil. Plus, I hate fluid mechanics. It's absolute pain in the bottom. Because I do need to also make sulfuric acid, but what I can do with that is simply, you know, set up some system. I can set up a plastic build, dedicated plastic build, and basically siphon some off to make sulfuric acid, because we only need a tiny amount for blue circuits. It's not even for all 6 rockets. We only need like a 0.1 of a pipe, or 0.4 of a pipe, or something like. It's not a pipe. It's nothing really. Okay, I'm going to go coal liquefaction. And if I end up a situation way down the line where I do need to do something with excess fluids, excess petroleum probably, then I will sort that out when I come to it. Okay, so if we go as recommended, because I quite like that this is 6 and this is, where was the other one? This is 3 effectively, and this is 15. I quite like that. So how do I want to actually arrange them then? I might as well have the light one last, so that I can do some kind of splitty thing, a priority feed thing over to the actual rocket fuel. Yeah, okay. So we'll have this. This will be, how many rows was it? So it's 2 rows? Yeah, 2 rows making solid fuel out of this. Which side do I want to feed it up? Right, let's get my chemical lab. See what it looks like. So If this is a chemical lab making solid fuel out of light oil, then we need to output it in some way that we can feed it in there. So it's going to be best out of one of the sides. So we might as well do one of these lads. You know, feed it up the side here. Like this. And that gives me the entire bottom then to mess about with pipes. Because how many pipes is it? Why don't you show it as... Oh no, there it is. So it's not even a pipe's worth of light oil. Yeah, okay. So we're going to have some smart logic going on, I think. Oh, I don't actually want to do that, do I? Let's do it on the other side. So that we can have that be consistent. Don't need them. Right, so we actually want it here. Feeding in there, like that. Boop. Okay. And then we'll have... Let's have the pipe there. Like that. Okay. So I wanted 2 of these. 2 rows, rather. Oh. And this is light oil. Like that. Yeah, it's obviously not going anywhere because we want 2 of those. We also want to copy up this. Oops, to feed it in. Like that. What have you done there? There we go. 8, 9, 6, 7. Okay. Have I got the right number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. How many belts in theory of... It's 2 belts, you see. So it is a lot more stuff, really. You working now? Okay. Oh yeah, I've put this on this side, haven't I? Right. Okay. So I've got 3 of these. Would it be better? No, because there's loads of them, aren't there? Does one of these divide by 11? It doesn't, does it? Not at all. Oh, it's not. I say I'm not massively fussed on this one if we end up with inefficient module use. Because what we could do, we could simply have it go out the side here. You know, go sideways or something. It's a lot of... Because I was quite liking that this is very long. That's annoying. But we already know we need 2 of these. That's annoying. That is annoying. I mean, in theory, we don't really need, we don't need them like, so I could, I've got, 6 of these and I've got 3 of the petroleum, and we could have them just arranged on here. So, we can have the first 3 be be fed by light iron on petroleum. How many do we need in total? Would that work? So if I, because you see, this is what's intriguing to me, that it's saying to make the solid fuel directly out of the heavy oil, rather than crack it into light oil and make all of that, make it all from light oil, because of the more beneficial ratio that is light oil. So it's a bit interesting that it's recommending doing this. So if this was 6, 3, and 15, or let's go at 14, what does that add up to? I've got a calculator somewhere. So if it was 6 plus 3 plus 14, 23. Bugger. See, if it had been 22, we could have had them all down the side. I mean, would it work? If we go 5.6, but they're outputting different amounts, you see. A light one does double the amount that a heavy one does. So effectively then, we don't need 2. So we can have 6 of them fed by the light. And then, what would the rest be? Oh, crikey, this is doing my head in. So, because these are going to output twice as much, basically, as these. Is that right? I mean, there is another option altogether, which is just have a separate oil, solid fuel production build, like down the bottom here. So let's see. So if I move all of these up, I'm not quite sure why I stopped so far off at the end. But if we move these up, basically, so that everything sort of, I say I don't mind, because what I would normally do is try and use these beacons. I don't mind not doing that, basically, but we want it to be fairly close so that it's nice and compact. Let's do that. And then like that maybe. Well, how many lanes have I got there? I've got loads, haven't I? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. It's intriguing to me that it doesn't always maintain or doesn't restore the recipe. I guess it's because it's not technically a proper entity, as it were, vanilla entity. Because what we're going to need to do is we're going to need a train station basically at the bottom, and we're going to feed all the copper up in a whole gigantic set of lanes. So actually we need a bit of space here to allow for that. But what I'm thinking, you see, is because we got these sulfuric acids, we could tack them onto the end. I'm actually feeding it in both sides, aren't I? Well, no, I've put that's not actually connected there. But yeah, we could have the sulfuric acid production at the end here. And so effectively we would have, some machines making sulfuric acid with almost like the leftover petroleum. We're not going to need hardly any. Or we could have a machine and we could feed it up and around and stuff. And that's all of the petroleum that's left over. Or some of the petroleum that's left over. That could be a little tricky to manage, but I might have to do that with a smart circuit, basically. So you see, if this was sulfuric acid, you see, we do need to feed it iron plate. But iron plate's not too far away. You know, down here, so we could have an extra lane of iron plate here. Probably better to leave a bit more room. But then we need sulfur. How much sulfuric acid do I need for them? I need, one machine making sulfur and one machine making sulfuric acid. So null, really. So we could just have, a machine here that's making sulfur and one making sulfuric acid. We feed the water in from wherever the heck we're going to get water from. It outputs the acid here, and we split it across these three. This is just a direct feed across. Yeah, I like that idea. What I should probably do then is include the blue circuits. Is that the only thing using sulfuric acid? I think it is, isn't it? Because that's the whole plastic question. Red circuits is plastic. Yeah, okay, so instead of that then, if this was fed via the coal liquefaction, what does it look like now? We've now got 6 solid fuel, which is no different. Where's the... Oh, there we go. Am I not doing any... Oh, that's why. I guess that's why it works. Because there's no cracking going on. That's obviously why it's more efficient. Let's check. So if we turn coal liquefaction off, then suddenly we introduce a whole load of... Do we? Heavy oil to cracking to light oil. So that's light being cracked from heavy. And then that's just whatever, the leftover effectively. Okay. So if I turn that recipe off again, or on rather, the light is all coming from coal liquefaction. Okay. Which is why we've only got half a pipe's worth of water. Ah, that's why it's better. Okay, right. So this particular setup should produce enough solid fuel from... So where's the sulfuric acid coming from then? That's coming from there. But that's just whatever we've got, isn't it? Sources, yeah, it's just coming from the coal liquefaction. So we don't need to do any cracking. Ah, okay. But now we're only using 2 solid fuel. We only need 2 making solid fuel. Haha. In which case, it might be possible to put this here This might be tricksy. I don't know that this will work. Because we need to feed in the old petroleum there, and then the two next to it are using petroleum for the other stuff. I say that may be slightly too far, because it could be that there's too much petroleum going this way, so we may need to divert some that way, which would be tricky in the space we've got. But we shall see. We shall see. Could we preempt that by... We probably could, couldn't we? Because what I'm thinking, because literally all we're doing is taking coal, turning it into the things, and then directly converting that to either solid fuel, using it for rocket fuel for the light, or a tiny amount of it turning it into sulfur, which then becomes sulfuric acid. So can we think about it in a slightly different way? That would be difficult because these are bigger, aren't they, with more beacons? Why have I got all of them? Where's the... There it is. Because what I was thinking is we could stick this in here, basically, but that wouldn't work. Because how many of them do we actually need? 6.1. So I need 7 of them. But if it's 6.1, then the 0.1 is for this, isn't it, clearly? What happens if we do take that out? If we take that out, does it drop? No, it's still 6.1. Okay. Clearly not, then. I was sort of hoping we could have an extra one, we could have, 6.1, and that's just doing whatever. How many lanes of coal does it actually need? Where's the coal gone? Right, where's coal disappeared? What? I thought I turned the coal on, didn't I? What? If I just add in coal, will that return it? I don't know that it will let me do that, will it? Why is that not... What? So we want... It went mad there for some reason. So if we turn that off... I don't know what happened there. What? I appear to have broken it somehow. Heavy or light or cracking? I don't quite know what's happened there. If I turn that back on... Are we back up? We're now using 116 of them. If I take that out, what happens then? Okay. Is that all back to what it was? Yeah, I don't quite know what happened there. I tried to turn the coal on to see how many lanes we need, which is only 2. We need more for the actual steam, though. But yeah, it seemed to have a bit of a moment there. So there's only 2 lanes of coal, so this would sort of work. Sort of, kind of ish. Okay, let's just get rid of them for the time being. Because what I'm actually thinking is that instead of, having them all go down here, basically we have, so we only need 2 of these. But what we could have is let's make sure that that's fully beaconed. Oops. Take them out. And then them in there. Yeah, we could have them here effectively. So rather than there, we have the light. And we can basically feed the pipes around here and use this space for any logic we need to do. And we could actually punch the light oil out the side for the... Maybe? Because it's 6 of these we need. It's now saying 4. What? We're now cracking heavy to light, which we weren't before. I think this might have a bit of a moment if you do some of the settings. Because I don't know why... If I turn that off... Do we go... Yeah, we're back up to 6 now. But now we're at 6.1. What? So that's all coming out of heavy oil. Sorry, cracking. Sources, that's all coming out of coal liquefaction. That's all coming out of coal liquefaction. Right. So, heavy oil. What's happening to heavy oil? Oh, obviously it's loop. Some of it needs to loop back round again. But 77% is going to. Oh, here we go. So we need 13. So we need 2 of them. 6.1 of it's them. We need 6.1 of. No. Oh no 6. Here we go. 5.6. Right. So these actually need to be the light. So that's solid to light to solid, but we need a load of light going up that way, you see, as well. So what I'm sort of proposing is that we effectively bend it round. The question then is how we get petroleum into them. Yeah, okay. And we need like 14, was it? 15, 30, 14. So 14 in theory, so 15 in practice. So can I plot that in again? Change that to... so this is heavy, yeah. And we need 15 of these. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay. And then we want 6.1 to 7 actual coal liquefaction jobs. How do I want to arrange them? Because it's a different set of, it's different beacon arrangement basically. We could just leave a gap and we'll just do it separately, basically. Because it would make some sense, basically, to have 8 of them and feed the coal in. Where have they gone now? From the bottom. Because what we can do, if we do that as coal liquefaction, we can have them sort of opposites. Like that. Because we need some room for the system to send it back. So, yeah, that's fine. But we can line it up so it's a bit neater. Maybe put it there so it's halfway, and then maybe what's that? It's 3, 6. So if we take it to there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's all right. Should be able to fit. No, I've done one too many, but that doesn't matter. And it should rotate round. And that'll give us some room to send some heavy oil back round. Yeah, okay. So if we do like, say, 8 of these. So what's that, 2? Almost perfect. So it's all sort of lining up at the bottom, basically. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, I didn't move it that way, do I? Did I? Let's have a think how we want to arrange. So we want heavy and light. So let's assume, well, what are we going to assume? We're going to assume we need a load of boilers. Have I got any boilers? I don't think I have. Where do boilers live? There they are. Right, so how many does it reckon we need? So it's saying 8.7, so we need more than that. So let's do 5 and 5. So if this was, because the steam comes out the top, doesn't it? So the steam feeds in on this side here. And I don't know if it's going to be easier or more difficult to do it on this side here. Just done it for the symmetry, really. So if I do that there, like that, copy that bit down, oops, like that. So we need to feed steam in there and there. Is that going to work? Oh, I need to put fuel in both of them, don't I? So actually, no. That needs to be like that. Well, I could always stagger them. So this is steam here. I don't imagine. I don't think. Oh, well, I don't think. Yeah, so if we do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's sum. Like that. Does that make sense? Not really, because I ideally want that more like that, don't I? Because I want to take from the coal belt from the cool belt. And then we can feed this. Put it there. No. Put that there. No. There. Oh no, I can't do that, can I? How have I been getting coal in? Oh, I've been feeding it in the side, haven't I? Like down there. Can I do that here? Probably. So we can take that. Oops. We take that like that. Down here, you see. And then feed it across. I like so. In fact, let's put it in the middle. No? What happened there? So we just do a splittery job. I mean, we know, powers are 2 and all that. We know we're probably going to end up with lots of belts here, so this is all fine. Output left. No, that's wrong then. So we need that to be 1 over. So that we can do that. And have that output left. Okay. Copy that bit. So it's a bit like my other one. It's more than we need. By a long shot. So if we take that, flip it, like so, and put this in here. No, don't do that. Right. Like that. I'm making a bit of a meal of this. I don't quite know why. Right, so we just put a regular old inserter in there. So these are some belts of coal, coming up from a train station, which we know, is going to have 8 carriages and blah, blah, blah. So that's all fine, basically. We do need to get water in, but we only, and this is clearly the advantage, but we only need it for these. So we can have water coming in here, making a steam. Right, oh, nothing's connected. That's why it's flashing. So we put that there and there. Should power everything. Like that. Let's just whack check this bit. Do that. So it does need the heavy to charge it, and we need the heavy return system of some description. But what we can do... All right, they go all the way out, do they? Okay, that's cool. Cool. So if we grab that and just do like that. Like so. Simple matter of simply connecting everything up. Okay. So which is which? So that's heavy. That's light. And that's petroleum. I guess it's working like a fluid bus, really. So, oh, look at perfect distance there. Perfect. Perfect. Perfect little beauty. And then, can we flip that? Another flip. Perfect. 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 Except not, because... No. Because these are the opposite orientation, because it's not rotationally symmetric, it's... I confused myself. So I've got heavy on the inside, so I want heavy on the inside again. There we go. Is that right? I hope that's right. So basic idea is we have some kind of fancy pants logic system, which we're not going to set up just yet. And what we're going to do instead is stick extra fluid in, basically. But this would be some fancy pants fluid return. Let's just stick this in. All of this clever fluid. So that like that. That like that. Which doesn't align because I've put it on the other one. Brilliant. Everybody spot the genius. But yeah, instead of that, I'm going to just stick in fluid into the system, basically. So we'll have... let's pump it in there, just to prime it, basically. So you're outputting heavy. Because say what we actually want is some clever pumpage. That wouldn't reach across, does it? No. You are most annoying. Right, let's do that again. So, we might as well actually have pumps on there. So, where's that? 1, 2, 3, then it's there. 1, 2, 3, then it's there. So that needs to be sort of there-ish. We could just even this up, I guess. Make it kind of symmetrical. And we need, obviously, power, which I don't know we could put there. No. Yeah, let's put it there. Why are you not working? Because you haven't got steam. Why have you not got steam? Oh, I didn't put the things on here. That's why. If you're looking for a simple explanation, then I've got one for you. There we go. Crikey, 6:45 already. Right, so that's the steam going. Are you now working? You're working, but you're not working because obviously this is massively saturated. So we can now pull that off. Shall we do the fancy pants? Logic? I guess we should really. I'm not actually sure how I'm going to get this to so many machines. Because I can't imagine it working very efficiently. But we shall see. So what I guess I'm hoping is that we can sort of pump it this way. We've not got a lot of time left today. And let's put that there. So I can pump it like this, basically. And it will kind of sort itself out. Famous last words of the fluid mechanics. So effectively do that. And we kind of treat these as splitters. I've no idea whether this will operate in any way, shape or form, really. Right, so if we just copy this down. Like that. And then got that pipage there. Like that. And then we can copy that one down. Oh, I haven't done a power on these, have I? And then that there. Like that. So I can pop the power on each of these. And also have an output. Would it be better to put it on the other side? No, it wouldn't. We want a bit of room. Now this is your standard. This is your standard thing. Which is what? Which is underground belt. There. And there. And there. And I think fasts will be okay. Okay. We want basically all of those bits. And all of these. As well. So we copy that. I'm stuck. Why am I stuck? I'm stuck now. Oh. If I do that, are you going to overwrite the recipe? You are. Okay. Please don't overwrite the recipe. I worked too hard on the recipe. So, we want that there. Then we want these two being basically the same, but petroleum. So no, this is the wrong recipe now. We want that one. Okay. Because all that... Oh, that needs a power there, doesn't it? Like that. So if this is out by here, we can balance all of this fairly easily. Because it'll be slightly uneven. Because we've got 2 extra here. So we need a 3 by 3 balancer. Do that there. Grab that. And we need to feed it in. Oh! Oh, of course I've still got these left here, haven't I? Boop. It's just wherever. I mean, this is not where it needs to be, but you know. Well, I don't know. It might be okay. Right, that needs to be to there. That needs to be to there. Like that. Cool. Cool. So this will presumably grind to a halt eventually. I could always go and stick an extra source in. Well, it's probably ground to a halt now, is it? But we need the logic on there to say, pump it that way first and then that way. In fact, let's do that. Have I even got any? I have. There we go. So we want that there. No, we don't even need that, do we? It's not that one. It's that one. I'll probably have to recharge this. And you only turn on if there is more than, say, let's make it 5,000. Plenty of buffer. And more than 5,000. So I imagine this is all ground to a halt now, so we'll just recharge it a bit. Obviously, it's what I'll be doing on the Megabase, you know, on the real base, as it were. It's just I'll be doing it with barrels and all that rubbish. you know, making a mess of it. And so is that full now? That's full. Cool. Cool. You're full because you've got loads and loads of light oil. And so I kind of imagine we'll be able to do the same sort of thing on here. Except we can't, can we? Because we need light oil to go up the top. Up here. I don't know we need a lot. Because I'm currently outputting it on both sides. I could stick it all together, couldn't I? In fact, would that be useful generally? It probably would, wouldn't it? So if I, instead of, you know, taking this up this side, if we take it a kind of around the corner, where can we slot that in? So if we take this down here, combine these two together, is it more than no. So only getting 0.1 stuff anyway. We should probably have a pump somewhere here. Let's put one in here. Oh, that's not even connected, look. Oh, it's because I was trying to max distance over there, wasn't I? Yeah. Let's do that. Oops. Right. So that makes sure it goes that way. Then we want another pump here. Make sure it goes up. We kind of want to do the opposite with the petroleum, I think, in that it'd probably be easier if we had that on that side. Is there a place we can fit that in? We can have it going across the top. Like this. So basically we'd have the light going up here. Where's the light start? There. So we need some kind of logic-y thing there. And this, let's put it along there again. And this is the petroleum coming this way, which obviously interacts with that. Because of course it does. Is that the right distance? That's the right distance. Perfect. And, oh, and now we want a logic here that is basically dividing this. We're going to need more room than that, aren't we? Dividing this up so that it feeds this in priority, and then whatever's left goes this way. So let's do that then. So, well, how are we going to do that? So it's unfortunate that that's not very well aligned. Oh well. I mean, we literally need one pipe, so it's not a sort of issue. But we have one there, and one probably here. In fact, let's put that there. Let's do that. Let's put that there. That can go. Oh no, I can't get that around, can I? So I need this to be here. That's not going to work. Okay. How about we take advantage of the gap and we do it here somewhere. So we'll take this up to here. That round like that. Oops. Like so. Yeah, so I mean, we need to get water in somehow. I will just, in fact, let's put it here. I'll just feed that in with a fluid source. For the time being, it's only a tiny amount. We also need iron plate, as we said before. So, for this. So there's going to need to be a sort of spare iron plate thing going on. The water also needs to go up to here somehow. Oops. Oh. In fact, that's a bit weird, but let's do something like that. For the time being. Oh no, that was super dumb because I was going to feed the sulfur up there, wasn't I? Twas super dumb. So in fact, we actually want this maybe here. And yeah, we might as well just use one of them. Iron plate. That gives me my sulfuric acid, which I will void rather than mess around trying to put stuff in. So actually, I need to put stuff in, don't I? Because if I void it all, it will use it all up. No, I can actually do that. Like so. Whereas if I have it feeding to the actual machines, it'll only use what it needs, basically. Well, there's only 3 of them. Although these aren't connected, are they? No. Didn't connect that there. But we do need to go and remove that. And we don't need the pipe going through there. Get rid of all of this. Make sure there's no accidental feed in of stuff we're not anticipating. Are you even working? No, you're not working. Why are you not working? Because you've not got petroleum. Oh, of course, this is not running, is it? So we need a logic system here that is basically you only switch on if there's more than 5,000 petroleums. Did I put 50? I did. 5,000 petroleums. So only when this is, backed up, which won't take it long to back up. When this is backed up, you will switch on, and you will send it to be turned into solid fuel. Okay. Next one then is this, and we need very similar idea basically. So we need this here. We're going to have a bit of a time sending this. Oops. Such a long distance. I think that's one of the flaws in the gold build I did, that I'm going to need way more. Let's see if this will act as a splitter. Way more pumps for water. So we can move that over as we need to. But we have a tank here. Yeah, so we need to move this over by, say, that much. Oh. Put it there then. Put that there. Put that there. And basically this one only switches on if the light goes above 5,000. No, other way around. That's wrong. Let's just get rid of that. So it's this one that only switches on if this goes above 5,000 light. Because we want it to be up making rocket fuel, not Yeah, that's the preference is rocket fuel. Where are we? So we're over here. Okay, we will see again. So we're going to need loads of pumps, basically. Because fluid mechanics. What are we doing on time? Oh, crikey, it's coming at 3 hours. So hopefully I haven't killed my channel by going on holiday. I can't see anyone has watched this stream live. I mean, it is still holiday season, and as I say, it is 9/11. So I imagine my American viewers will be probably doing something in relation to that. I actually watched 9/11 happen. I was on holiday, and yeah, it was horrible. How people do such horrible things to each other. Right, so there is now light flowing through there. Now what we need to just check is that all of our gold liquefiers are still happening. Are you running? Not really. Why not? Not that much there. Are you sort of stuck in some way? You're not getting enough coal in. Okay. I think that's just an inserter speed issue rather than anything else. So we'll just plop our extra... Oh. Well, that's an issue. Yeah, how people do such horrible, horrible things to each other, I'd never know. Dangerous thing, belief. Right. So hopefully, by feeding it 2 lanes of coal and it having multi-inserters, it's going to stay happy-ish. I mean, those are, you know, there's fluiding. And this is staying full. And that's capped at 5. Again, fluid is fluiding. Cool. So I have no real idea whether this will kind of work as intended. You know, you get this thing where the fluid just behaves in a completely bonkers way that you just wouldn't expect. But we got like excess machines for doing everything. See, that's completely full. And that's completely empty. Are they not identical? That's actually backing up. Why is that backing up? Why are you backing up? What it could do is maybe rejoin that. I'll probably end up with, you know, take 4 lanes and balance it rather than this whatever this is. I imagine. Are you backing up? So it's still backing up. Is one of these not properly connected then? Well, that's light then. Have I got too few? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 15, wasn't it? Heavy to light. Well, that's 13.4. Okay. Oops. Because that's sticking at 5. Have I put this in wrong? Activate if that's above 5,000. I'm lost as to why that one is backing up, but this one isn't. Is something not connected properly here? These are all... You see, that's now stuttering because it can't get its heavy out. We can actually get rid of them. Oops. Oh, I've run through the gap. Hang on. Right. Petroleum light. So this is a full pipe now. It may be a priority thing in that it's to do with the fact that I'm loading it into both. It's possibly preferentially taking that one. We could do something completely bonkers and do that. I bet that will absolutely cause it to go nuts. We shall see. Right. Could probably do with a lane button. We're producing too much for what's being processed. Is that because it's not? I mean, this is full. It's all full. They're all running. Right. So what we could do to test now... Oh, this is very up and... Oh, that's the copper cable. That's fine. What we could do to test now is actually launch rockets, basically. So if we whip these out... Oh, I didn't... I need to put these back in, don't I? Just wanted to... Because we've done so well today that I thought maybe might as well do this bit. You need to be... Satellites, don't you? Which are there. Stick them in. Cool. Satellites to there. And this is where we'll cap the stream off today, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll see about the train side of it, and then maybe start implementing it. It's gone a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be honest with you. So if I hit that... Oh, I need to get rid of these. Like that. Yeah, so I hope I haven't killed my channel by going on holiday. Because I'm saying I can't see anyone has dropped in today, but so it's not really why I do these, but it is very weird. I don't understand at all the whole... Oh, that's not got prod modules in. The whole thing. Maybe I get rid of them. No, that one's backing up. Well, I'm kind of assuming what will happen with this is that essentially that it isn't actually able to feed it in so that a rocket launches all the, you know, that it's continuously working at its maximum speed. You see this stack bank? Because you do have this pause here, you see, where it's all, you know. Oh. Wasn't expecting it to do that. It does when you have like mods on it, like almost reset. It basically resets your achievements. It's a strange thing. But yeah, I'm sort of assuming that this will basically now almost get complete, and there'll be a bit where then it isn't quite. Yeah, here we go. You see, it's interesting that it's the low density structures. It's something slightly different over there. Have I forgotten to? No. Maybe do they stack differently? No. It's interesting that that's the slower one. Maybe my buffer is larger on that side. But yeah, it's sort of while it launches a rocket, these effectively buffer. and then there's a very short period at the end where it's not quite enough, buffered to finish off the rocket. So sort of maybe 90 to 100% is slow, and then and effectively that's why we've got 6 rockets rather than 5. Because if you think about it, if I'm trying to do 5,000 per minute, then that should be 5 rockets, shouldn't it? Because you should launch every time you launch, you get 1,000 white science. Here you go, you see. So it actually looks like it kicks in at about 85. But this issue that I can't quite make it quick enough, and it needs to launch, it needs the period while it launches, means that actually you need 1 extra, and that extra one is kind of going to compensate for this period where it can't quite launch it, as it needs to. But we've had a few launches now, so we should be able to look at the science number. Yeah, it's not long enough. It's because it's periodic, you see. That's one of the difficult things of it. So it should give us, 1,000 a minute as an average number. But not quite. It should be slightly under, actually, shouldn't it? If that's the effect we're going to get. I mean, what we could do is just literally copy and paste this 6 times. I would have to go round and do all of the input feeds in. So it's pretty meaty, isn't it? Just for 1 rocket. Because this, have I got that still? So if that's the purple science build, then it's about the same height, about the same width. If that's a squarish, it's not far off the same height as that, sort of width. Obviously, these are weird shapes. It almost looks like a rocket itself, then. So yeah, if I had 6 of those, you see, then that would give us the 6 rockets, that we need, and they're each independent builds, you see. And then what I need to do is work out basically how close can I put them together, because I'm going to need a whole load of trains to provide the stuff. So we need, this is all completely fine over here. We don't need anything, extra coming in there. And this is where we get it. But that's copper and iron. And copper and iron we can feed in at the bottom, no problem. We can have a train doing coal here. So let's do that on the map just quickly. I do need to go, but so we would have like a coal station, we would have a, say, iron station, we would have a copper station. I say they're going to be a lot further apart than that. I need multiple copper, multiple iron. So we probably need. In fact, let's have a look at the. Whoops. I don't know. Let's have a look at this. So what does this say? This says for iron, it says it's only a train's worth of iron. 0.3 or 0.2, so it could be 2 trains worth. I normally like multiplying by 10 because of the whole delay and latency and all that sort of stuff. So it looks like probably 3 copper, 2 iron. Wow. That would be 33. That can't be right. Oh no, guys. It's because it's 1, isn't it? It's not. It's a sixth of what I need. So it's actually really, it's only like 1. Yeah, so we could do with like maybe 2 copper trains, 2 iron trains, 2 coal trains, and that. Oh no, I've not switched everything on. Let's switch everything on. That's just for. Okay. What have we got here? We got low density structures as well. I can need way more than that, aren't we? Don't need that. Okay, that's more like it. So we are probably going to need, obviously, we need to do the plastic build, and that's using a lot of this coal, half of this coal. Yeah, about half of the coal. So it's not really quite as many as that for this bit. But yeah, we're going to need which are the raw ones? So it's we need iron, copper, and coal, and that's it, isn't it? Well, water, but that's different. So we need iron, copper, and coal. So how many of each do we need? We're going to need. Well, that's 8.2 and that's 11.6. So yeah, we're going to need like probably 2 of them, 3 of them, and I mean 2 of them, but because it's divided over 2. So that's 7.8. So that's a train, you see. That's a train. And where's the iron? That's almost a train. So yeah, 2, 3, 3 really, but we can probably get away with 2 because it's the separate coal. Yeah, so if we have one here, and one, yeah, so 2, yeah, okay. So probably want one of them. Where am I feeding in? So it's iron. It's only a little bit of iron here. So I've got lots of iron there. Not so much iron there. Okay, so if we go, it's probably going to end up being something like this, isn't it? Probably maybe another copper, another iron, and then we've got the plastic build somewhere else. So say that's what we'll work out tomorrow. Basically, that'll be tomorrow's stream. The next stream on this series, we'll be working out the train side of it because I don't want to do that in the main game because of this issue that I need to know how far these are apart. And we can do things like we don't necessarily have to, we don't have to have them all lined up along the bottom. We could bring some of them in. So, for example, this needs copper up here. So we could have a copper train actually be here, one be here, and then maybe, is this all copper? Yeah, so copper train is more like there, iron, and then 2 iron. So it could be something like copper, iron, iron, copper, copper. And then we need to work out, that gives us a bit more space, so the plastic build might be here, or maybe it's better to stick it on the side here and weave it round. I don't think so. It's probably going to be better to have the plastic build, either here or something like that. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be tomorrow's stream. So if anyone has been watching this, thanks for doing so. And I say I'll be back tomorrow at same. Well, no, it will be the same sort of time. Will it? What am I going to do about the race tomorrow? That didn't occur to me. If it's on the BBC and I'm able to record it on the radio, then I'll just stream at the normal time. I'll watch the race afterwards. If I can't record it on the BBC, then the stream will start after that race. It's only quick, Imla. It's only if they have smashes and red flags. It's like an hour and a quarter maximum usually, if that. It's very, very fast circuit. So same sort of time tomorrow for more Factorio. If you're watching if you're watching the VODs, you're watching on YouTube, then there should be a playlist on the screen and you can catch up with the whole series or browse through there. I also stream Satisfactory and Dyson Sphere program, Satisfactory on the Friday and Dyson Sphere program on the Monday, if those are series you're interested in. So if you have been watching or you joined me today or catching up, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in another one, and I'll see you later. Cheers.